What's up, guys? Today we have Priit Mihkelson on the show. He's a world-renowned instructor. He teaches for Jiu-Jitsu Globetrotters. He has a defensive BJJ website where he shows all sorts of great defense. And he's been traveling around the world just teaching his defensive Jiu-Jitsu. And a lot of times in Jiu-Jitsu, kind of offense is prioritized, but Priit really specializes in defense. So really happy to have him here today. And he's going to show his 5 defensive Jiu-Jitsu postures. Is that how you describe it?
Yes. So you can also describe them as trenches, and you can camp out and really like a beginner-friendly beginning. You want to start?
Yeah, yes. Perfect.
So first, obviously, we can start from turtle. So what we do, it's easy to make people like annoying very fast, is elbows in, head on the mat. And I guess for camera, it's like toes, toes flat at the moment. We do both in end, but at the moment we start like flat feet. And elbows are on our hips, and head is left or right, depending where the opponent is. And that's the easiest one to start.
Sorry, is there an advantage or disadvantage to having your toes engaged when you're in turtle?
There's some things I have to figure out about a turtle, but this is how we start in that sense. But seal feet, what they give you is they have a harder time ankle picking you.
Yeah.
And you kind of lose a little mobility, It's easier to do like this windshield wiper when you have seal feet, but toes give you like forward pressure. But I guess if they're in front of you, you need forward pressure. But if they're back, you only need, like wrestlers use toes on the mat in a referee position only if some wrestlers have told me that, in that sense, that only if they know that the attacker is not a good ankle picker.
Yeah.
So toes on the mat, they can get up fast.
Okay.
But like a default, it seems like even wrestlers are using like seal feet in a referee position, so they can't be ankle picked, and they're straight arm on a mat. So we're actually developing similar stuff for Jiu-Jitsu, like straight arm stuff. But at the moment, like universally, it's like a shell. So ankle picks and stuff, you can even try it. Like let's say far ankle pick. So go like the toes right now. So grab the ankle. You can harass me a bit, Yeah. But if I have this, so let go, and then go now.
Oh yeah, now it's way harder to get underneath.
And also if you pressure me a lot, then far ankle gets really heavy. And this is a very good mat for that. Some mats are easier to dig under, but this is very sticky, so I have very hard time going under. And you have to be earlier in that sense. You have to have better reflexes to get it. If I shut down, it's kind of, you have to use a lot of over-exaggerating force to break it. And that's a good habit to have, like elbows in, And I guess I play myself a lot of turtle like this also. I play very open, I do this, but then I know the context also, what I'm playing with. It's like playing with boxing with this, and then playing like that open stuff. The context, you can break all the rules. But this is a good habit to go like, let's try, get underhooks on me. So,
yeah, it's pretty good.
And it's really like and seat belts and stuff, it's easy to fight, and it's hard to get like a front seat belts, side seat belts for Dars, Anaconda, Mars, Fars, Lars, whatever they are. And so it's a good position to camp out against another beginner, and then get your breathing back, calm down, and find the escaping option. If you're playing very open turtle, you would have to find the escape faster.
Yeah.
So for beginners, like we try to slow them down, or they can also equalize a fight. If they're rolling with a blue belt, they can shut more down to equalize the threat. So then maybe somebody eases out the pressure and they open up more the game. So to balance out the equation, because the power lines are clear. One is better, one is beginner.
So for those that don't know why you go to turtle, it's basically, is it only when someone's going to pass your guard that you go to turtle, or do you go for turtle for other type of situations?
I guess you can end up in turtle after a shot. Yeah. Take a single leg, a double leg, they sprawl on you. So what do? You can chain wrestle, or you can just camp out. Yeah. And this is all in the context of in the beginning. In a fight when somebody's punching, you already have to know what you're doing. But exactly. They won first. They fail, they camp out without any punches. Also, when somebody passes the guard, like Toronto, I can defend. But also, you can consider let's say points. Then turtle is no points, advantage, and knee and belly or whatever, or side control is 3 points. Okay. So it makes sense to turtle out, also competition-wise. And only it makes sense, I guess, if your back survival is good. That's why a lot of people choose not to go to turtle, because maybe their back survival is not so good. So they're giving up 3 points, but they're on their back, they're flat. So they're risking, maybe they consider it like it's worth not showing your back because I would lose more. Yeah. But if your back stuff is good, like the wrestlers have told me that their referee position escape ratio is over 60%. Because they train it so much.
Exactly.
And 60s are pretty good already. One poker player said, like, if you get 60% of your, certainty of your hand, that's like the highest you can get already,
Yeah.
So I think I don't play poker, but he said this is good ratio already. It's way better than chance.
Can we show that clip where maybe I'll pass your guard and just show how you transition to turtle?
So what kind of pass you want to do?
This is like a Toriando. So say I'm here, I go to pass your guard, and instead of succeeding the pass, yeah, you go all the way to like transition like that. Exactly. So if I'm in front of you, would you try to like start going through my legs and start trying to wrestle me, or would you just try to stay tight with your elbows?
Here I would also let's play a little bit.
Yeah.
So I would play also this way because I know what you need.
Exactly.
Because now I have like legs. Yeah.
Exactly. Now I can't come around.
But then I also give you stuff, so I have to really manage the threat.
Because I might transition to here. Exactly.
And then I have to know stuff. If you go for that example, then I have to wrist fight fight. Because from certain distance you can't fight anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now I get in. So it's about how deep do I get. So if I go like dragging a jab, if you do this, they're gonna punch you. So I have to know when to reach. So if you're too far, I'm not gonna reach. Maybe I fall to guard, But if I'm close enough, I can reach. So it's like underhook. I don't reach like this.
Yeah.
I have to bring my body in. So if I reach wrong, you can have your stuff, and that's the sport. You can always lose and win. But my point is, like, at least you know what went wrong.
Yeah, very situational, right? Yeah. So you don't want to overextend with your arms, and then you can't get the guy's legs. So
and most likely. That we should turtle. So what I don't want to do it again, do the passing. I don't want to go just like sideways away. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to go to the angle. So if you chase my turtle,
okay.
See? And then it's already like so I rotate. So that's really common, but people teach.
Yeah.
Going this way is hard, but going this way because I create a curve. So I'm escaping, probably carrying some of your weight, but it's a curve. So in a curve you can't speed up. It's like a rally, If you speed up, inert force kicks you out.
Yeah.
So it kind of balances out the equation.
So you make sure you get an angle as you turtle.
Yeah. Like again, I always reference the boxing and other sports. Like you never go like 1, 2, 3 steps back. One back, 2, and then you circle out. Always in a stand-up also, because they can't chase you. Then they have to cut the quarter and stuff. So I try to follow the similar rules. That our sport is not different. Does it apply in wrestling? Boxing, and also seems like it's a good here.
Yeah.
So. Because I use similar structures also to I guess wrestling and boxing, because I fight seatbelts and necks with my shoulders. So that's like a protective shin.
Yeah.
So if you, from turtle, let's say, try to get under the chin.
Yeah. Yes, you're staying pretty tight.
Yeah. So then my arms are more free. Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm not saying shoulder rolls, but if I do this, I have to really protect my neck because it's clearly in danger.
Yeah.
And so if I do this, I have more freedom, so to speak.
Yeah, that's something I try to preach a lot too on the channel. It's like for guillotine prevention, it's not only about fighting the hands, but early prevention is really keeping your shoulder, glutes, and chin.
It's very universal structure, kind of like that.
Yeah.
And if you want to make a necktie stronger, like a defense, you shrug your shoulders. Otherwise, so we call it the crane neck. Like a bird has a long neck. Yeah. You do this, your neck is shorter, and then you have a harder time. So all the time, this kind of using the turtleneck, so to speak, kind of makes sense.
That's funny. I was just telling someone last night, I kept guillotining him, and he's asking me, how do you get me in so many guillotines? I told him, like, every time I go to shoot the guillotine, I can get under your chin, no problem. You need to keep your shoulder glued to your chin. I think that's going to help him a lot with this guillotine prevention.
Yeah, and I use a lot of wrist fighting, so I complement wrestling for that. And let's say I even give you like a seatbelt right now, like you try to connect your arms. So I do a wrong turtle, so to speak. Try to connect like seatbelt.
Okay. So
seatbelt, yeah.
Seatbelt,
so go. Try to connect.
Yeah.
So I wrist fight a lot.
Exactly. You control
we call them magnets, so to speak. They never touch. So try to fight a little bit.
Yeah, that's not easy. For sure.
And then I can pull it out.
Yeah.
And do this, and then go. So there's different layers. So I have just protection. No, you felt that. Then you get in, I can repummel. Then third layer might be magnets, and then maybe I make a mistake. So you get a seat belt, but I grab your wrist, you grab my wrist, So one arm free. So I have different layers of mess up.
Exactly.
And then finally, it depends what you want to do, From usually side seat belt, you want to take, attack the back or stuff.
Is there a favorite turtle escape you have to get out of turtle and into a better position? Like I like to sit through a lot. That's my favorite one.
Sit through, yeah. So that also leads to another defensive structure. But I most likely I will roll you.
Yeah.
Um,
You'll catch the arm,
yes.
roll through.
And some people are more aware of that. It was just recently I rolled with some judoka, and he was very, very aware of the sprawled all the time. It was nice.
So sorry, when you roll through, do you catch the wrist? Or you try to go over the tricep?
No,
I've seen it both ways.
I need a wrist because not many people give me the elbow.
Exactly.
Because they try to be really cautious of it. So if I play like here, so I get in, so I only get this.
Okay.
Yeah. And now there's a fight now because I consider this an easy pin. But if you would land in some defensive structure, actually, I have a very hard time getting on top here. I would consider if you would do like a baby reaches and stuff, I most likely end up in a open guard top. Because I consider like just that sweep and ending up in a side control top is actually very unlikely.
Yeah.
If the person knows how to defend it, I would say baby reach or something else. So I like that, so to speak, real endings, optimal endings, not like if they don't know what to do. If you're very tired, I can do this sweep, end up in a side control also.
Exactly.
But what is optimal? Yeah, when you're fresh, when you know you're adapted to situation, you made a mistake, and you don't make another one, And what's the landing structure of yours, so you can get back to the game. So I usually try to teach also like what is the optimal reality that you have to be adapted to, and you have to be not mad about, because a lot of times the ending is also unreal, and then you fight, and then the ending doesn't happen. So you think it's your fault, but actually maybe technique is taught to be a little bit like superficial ending,
Yeah, exactly.
Like doing five punch combinations on fresh opponents. Usually do shorter ones,
Yeah, I think that's actually a problem in jiu-jitsu, because I think like students ask me a lot, or they don't understand that the first sweep, for example, you sweep someone, it doesn't really matter so much where you end up, you still get your points. It's like,
yes,
you can't always dictate where you're going to land, and a lot of students, they want to always land in such a great position, but a lot of times you have to be happy. We have to be, happy we can get.
And if you watch matches, you see that somebody sweeps and then it's a 5-meter finishing,
Yeah.
They have to run single leg, really like a wrestling finish,
Yeah.
One guy, Estonian guy, started, I think I've heard it from him at least, that he said jiu-jitsu starts, and wrestling finishes.
Yeah.
So it's like, but when you watch competition, then you kind of see it. But in a gym, it's like, it's too perfect, Then as a defender, you have to do 3 to 5 mistakes in a row. And it's like, what is the likelihood of that against, adapted, knowledgeable opponent who knows optimal defense, let's say. Yeah. So I think that's also that I'm trying to emphasize, that it's cool to do those long combinations, but it has its place just to show how to connect things. But in reality, it doesn't really work out that way sometimes. Yes.
Exactly. Like for striking, I always think of long combos as kind of just like getting used to, just throwing and just the, I guess I don't know what the word to use is, just like getting used to, the patterns involved in it, more so than memorizing a super long combo, which is really hard to do, right?
Yeah, and maybe do a 6 combo and then you maybe throw 3,
Yeah.
Just because the combinations are the hardest to do in any sports, in jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and boxing,
Exactly.
So sometimes it makes sense to do it, but I guess the disclaimer has to be there that, why they're there, or people don't expect them to work all the time,
Yeah.
So I think that's very, very important to tell people, definitely the newbies, because maybe they're not aware of the sport so much.
Yeah.
So they think this is what actually happens, and then they're disappointed, and then, that's not their fault, actually.
So can you demonstrate, because I really like that angle change you did when you went to turtle. So how about I pass your guard, you go to turtle, and just show that angle change one more time, and then maybe sit through, and I think it'd be cool to see that.
You mean sit through? You mean like peek outs and stuff, or what do you mean sit through?
Like, this is what I do for sit through. I'm here tight, and I bring my leg out, sit through to my guard like that.
Oh yeah, and then you pull guard.
Exactly. So if I want to go to my guard, yes. Exactly.
So okay.
So it seemed like that's what you were trying to do, what you were doing to me, but I'm not sure if that was what.
Also, what I want to teach, also, like always, not here also, but I never know how I escape. It's usually like a combination of what you do. I have to kind of map you out.
Yeah.
How you want to attack, and because that's the one you expect,
Exactly.
And then because turning in, like in a guard, and also these days I turn more out just to annoy more people, inspire more people.
Oh, okay. So you'll turn out to like hawking.
No, I turn out to like we call a panda, basically like a wrestling sit out.
Yeah.
So I show it. Yeah. So let's do the guard pass.
Pass on Toriando.
So you're there. So if you're in front of me, I would do this, yeah. But also, if I'm here, I can go there, pressure.
Yeah.
So I do this. This is like a wrestling sit out.
Yeah.
And then here we call it panda, but you can do a hip heist also. I guess I stitch here. So how you want to attack? There's still underhook fights.
Yeah.
If you put the hooks in.
Okay, block them.
Yeah. And then, you can do a bunch of stuff. You can hip heist, you can go, we'll figure it out. So in that sense, I turn my back to you, but I get all the freedom there. So sometimes turning in is not an option. So turning out has to be there. Same as I can do inverts probably, invert out, invert in.
Yeah.
But for me at least, how I started is what I was emphasizing more turning out, just to show it's an option and it's not that dangerous as people claim. And then turning in obviously is more studied. People do it more. People know it more. So and are also adapted to it more. So from the Ghana turtle. So I go like boom, and the same. We call it a sitting turtle.
Yeah.
And because of panda, that's how panda sits in a jungle or something. Somebody named it the panda. So, but in wrestling, there's also old catch wrestling videos when actually people use this structure. I've seen it like Sonny Brown, I think, did it like a very, I think it was him, like very black and white. Somebody used this. So what else?
Sorry, do you worry about the leg lock at all? If someone just say someone's behind you, right, and kind of throws their leg in as you're like, is that something you?
Yeah, but then you always have to change get the angle. So if you're behind me, so pressure, you can't do it. So if you go for the leg lock, see?
Yeah, exactly.
So you cannot be everywhere. So either you choose to pressurize me, or you choose the angle. So I know where to go because I can do this. Also, if you go, I can turn out. So there's a choice I have to make.
Yeah.
So and it's a weird position to have. Like I said, wrestlers do it. They sit out. There's some even pictures. Wrestlers are just killing the hooks here and staying and then doing their things. So I think just in Jiu-Jitsu, we should also have it. It's mainly my turtle game, and even the panda or sitting turtle we call. It's mainly inspired by Eduardo Telles.
Yeah.
So he's my turtle god. And he's quite hard to read what he does in the fights. And he uses, we have a move that we call Telles. So he goes always like,
oh yeah.
So does that. So we call that Telles actually.
Yeah, and it's very similar to the sit through basically.
Yeah, so he plays this a lot. So I just went like one more time out. So he plays this and sits there. So I was like, let's see. And so for all of this, he's an inspiration. I play this kind of sitting turtle way more than probably he does, or he does in competition. Maybe in a gym he does something else. So he plays way more turtle, also more open turtle. So because he knows so many things, and so he can bait a bit and stuff. So we start with more closed turtle, and then I play myself quite open these days because I want to find out how open I can be. Yeah. So.
Sorry, is that what you do
No.
a lot now? That like in your training is kind of like letting people kind of play and kind of figuring out defensively how to.
So I want to always like push the envelope, so to speak. That if I give you submission, I want to find out the latest I have to tap. Like in heel hooks today. The people are already slipping heels. Everybody tapped a couple of years ago super early.
Yeah.
But now they're like just doing this and nothing happens. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I want to also figure out like chokes and arm bars and stuff like this, or also. Just push it later and later, everything, to find out.
Yeah, that's something I've been doing a lot lately, is like kind of letting people kind of beat me up in the sense of like I kind of let them get position on me and trying to figure out, how to stop them from getting like too dominant of a position. And like a lot of it's just like preventing inside position, which I've talked about a lot on the channel. It's very similar. And I think that's kind of why you don't mind giving up your back so much, because you're so good at preventing inside position with your shoulders and using your frames to stop the hooks from going in.
Yes, and then that becomes boring also. So it's the critique I've been getting also, like making people annoying and stalling, but it's a neutral tool and it's about you how to use it.
Yeah.
So so I like to open up more. So I want to see how much I can give you and get away. Yeah, because I can clearly do this, but then giving you something, but always giving you something with a slight difference. I'm giving you seatbelt, but I do something like this, so you feel it's not actually yours. Yeah. Something is missing. So and then fully giving you back and surviving. and then even putting like choke on and trying to survive, and as long as I can, or then at some point also I tap. So that seems to be interesting for me.
Well, I've heard the criticism like a couple times about like how it might be viewed as stalling, but I don't think it is, because I think you need to have like defensive positions to rely on if things do go bad for you.
Yeah. So it's like I said, it's a tool. So you said it correctly in that sense that, of course, it's you can overuse it. Just shut down. Yeah. So if we're equal, and then we roll, if you put pressure on me, I can shut down to really like get my breathing back.
Yeah.
And then of course, if we're here in a gym and everything, I want to play back. And then I open up and we'll play. So if, like I said before, if you're overpowering me, you're better, and then I can use it to equalize. If we're same physical shape, I can use it to balance out the equation by just shutting it more down, so you have a boring time. So because you're better, I'm signaling you like ease up. I know you're better. And then if you slow down, I open up more.
Yeah.
So we can play.
Exactly.
So it's for tool to beginners also to like equalize the equations, not getting just bullied and like somebody purple just rushes through the white belt, because they're trying to fight back with this, because they lose because purple belt knows more.
Yeah.
So it's a tool, and then you're with your own kind or more beginners than you learn to fight back. So you climb the ladder a little bit. Like with some you shut down more. With less beginner, you open up more. You want to try new things because their skill is lesser than you. So I think it's a tool. So.
I agree. Because kind of the way I think of it, I think the best way to approach it is to do some roles where you do roll very defensively and kind of like, work on your defense. And other roles, you don't really work on it so much. You work on your offense, because if you only try to work on your offense, you don't get an opportunity to work on your defense so much. So I think you need both. You need to be able to play and do those defensive things.
And how do you know if your attacks are good? I always say that, because if you train with a good leg lockers, they're slipping in their stuff and you can still sometimes sub them. That means that you're a good leg locker, because you can, if they have optimal defense and adapted, you can still get them.
Exactly.
That means you know that you're a decent leg locker, because if somebody plays very open turtle, and they don't know turtle, just plays the way it's usually shown, and then they get destroyed. So back taking and stuff. So as a back taker, how do you know your back takes are good?
Yeah.
Because if you play with not optimal turtle, So that's my message also, that because you really want to understand attacks, you have to have the best knowledge. Imagine like, carry tonon, like, Kron Gracie carry tonon, that armbar sequence.
Yeah.
Imagine if the average level of armbar escapes would be this. Yeah. Imagine like the armbar level of the gym that has to beat that.
Exactly.
So it's one of the best ways to actually get really good in armbars, if you create that, close to average that level. So that's why I think defense is important, that it even keeps the boring armbar interesting, because otherwise you have to teach, new techniques to keep the interest. But I like more like a boxing version of the jab, We have 5 punches. It's not like show me a new punch, But how do you keep the jab interesting for years? To play games, Different games like resistance games, different rules. So if you make the armbar defense very high level, it's still enormously exciting and rewarding to hunt that armbar, because you have to work for it. But people maybe tap too earlier, here, okay, you got me, and there's no carry tonon style there.
Yeah.
So you go like, it's boring, let's find new submission.
Exactly.
So I find that also kind of screws with all this teaching a lot of techniques,
Yeah.
And then it's a chase of teaching always the new sweeps, and you can't even master the old ones.
Yeah.
So I think the defense kind of calms people down, I think.
Well, I think you also need to be defensively sound to be able to actually get offense going. Because even in my How to Never Get Submitted video that you watch as well, someone criticized. They said, "Oh, this is just stalling," but it's like, no, you can't actually get any offense going if you don't do things like keeping your elbows tight and not letting people get inside position around your neck.
Yeah, it's a good base to actually do anything, because if you do this, I agree with you. If I guess it's a. You never know who's commenting, but I understand also the point, where they're coming from. Let's say why call it stalling. If you would only do this and nothing happens, because it's a social play we do here. So they don't know that how you use it. It's a highlight put together, And if this is the every roll you do, I think could be stalling. But this is just a highlight of stuff happening, and you just do this and then fight back, Mm-hmm. So it's like, this using the shield in boxing is not stalling, I'm doing this, and then I'm learning to punch back.
Exactly.
So I like the boxing analogy, because boxing has a stance and defense, guard. So I think in positional, this could be a guard, and I'm fighting back from there,
Exactly.
But plus I can also just train my guard, and then see the opportunities to punch, So I enjoy those kind of tricks and ideas that how to be less submittable.
I think it's similar to boxing in that if you don't have a guard, then you can't really get any offense going because
what I mean.
you're going to get knocked out.
So that's why I'm so obsessed by structures, because boxing, it's obviously we teach this, and this is where you punch.
Yeah.
But in jiu-jitsu, we don't emphasize so much. Let's say in a guard, there is certain structure. Yeah, we do. But how do you are in a bottom? One of the biggest critiques are usually like, why do we start with side control escapes with underhook and seatbelt, like underhook and crossface?
Yeah.
Is there not something else? Why do I have to give you a very strong position with frames and stuff? Still, but if you can squeeze me, I'm not gonna bridge and shrimp you.
Yeah, that's one criticism I've had too about like the way jiu-jitsu is taught. It's like, do you learn it in a bad position almost? So you learn side control, like they have a crossface and underhook, but that's not where you want to be. You want to let them get there in the first place, right? But people, they practice there and they think that's where you're supposed to be, so they reach up and everything. And
yeah.
I think that there's a problem with jiu-jitsu instruction, and that's definitely one of them.
Because it's easy that, like, in close guard, close guard top. Everybody does certain kind of arms,
Yeah.
kill everything, don't give them anything and open,
Yeah.
So it's a very early survival, In a mount, most people start like, this maybe,
Yeah.
And so the top person has nothing, I have my frames. So why in a side control, we start crossface underhook.
Yeah.
And even like a back control, like a basic day one back control is with a seatbelt. It's already a mistake. So it should be also some kind of neutral position, like in close guard. So why not in close guard start with bottom person has a underhook and a head control, and then try to posture up and open, Or mount has a crossface underhook,
Exactly.
And then get out, So I think there's an inconsistency there. And so that's why also my like bottom positions are inspired by that idea that I'm not going to give you easily, that you have to fight for it. You have to get certain positions, underhook most likely. And then if you get underhook and crossface, then I deserve to be there, because I made a very, very, very big mistake. And this is a pinning position, in wrestling in that sense. And so it's not going to be an easy escape. So, and then if people know that, then I think they stop saying like jiu-jitsu is complicated, because they just went to the pinning position.
Yeah.
And they try to escape the pinning position. So I find that is, I'm trying to, because in guard we do it, so I try to build consistency in a certain way, that it's not like a new idea that don't give anything, but just I think in a guard we do it, in a different positions we're not. So why not, so to speak, that.
Yeah.
Certain guard even should start, maybe have a body triangle or hooks, but you have nothing, Then how do we go from there? I can escape better, put my shoulders on the mat, and then we make mistakes, and then we get deeper into trouble.
Yeah.
So that would be like a better idea, So
I think that is why so many people have such a hard time escaping side control, because they don't realize, like you said, they're in such a pinned position, right? So it's like, I have the T-Rex arms rash guards. Like, you want to use your T-Rex arms, keep your elbows tight, stop people from grabbing your head too, right? And then it's so much easier to escape side control, right? As opposed to reaching up like that, they've got underneath your armpit, underneath your head, and just hard.
I can also show you, like, it's good, actually, it's an introduction to the third one. I can show you the third one, baby rich, mini one.
Let's see that.
So right now, I show everything away from you because it's more fun. But I also play side control like this. So get on top.
So if I'm here,
Yes.
you turn your back a little bit.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm not doing this, but you see you can bully me with your chest.
Yeah, because you can't let me get my chest behind
Yes.
you.
Now you have a hard time. I don't want to do this also, because now you can use the chest to really like
keep
try
it
the
down.
shoulder.
Yeah.
Try to be like a T.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
it's
and
not
now-
like on your chest, on your shoulder.
Yes. So try to go behind my back. See how low you have to go.
Yeah.
Most people don't feel comfortable because you like losing position.
Exactly.
So this arm actually can be out. So that's why, the elbows close and stuff, I tend to disagree with these days, because I first also started. But now it's really hard to attack that arm because you're there.
But do you worry about someone maybe reaching in?
I like it.
Oh yeah.
Because here, if you do the same move,
Yeah.
this sucks, because it's got a crucifix. Here, go. You actually sit me up.
Yeah.
And I like those escapes.
Okay.
I like the body lock because I like sitting up, because sitting up is like one of the best direction I can get, because I want to sit up, but most likely you won't let me. So if you get this, plus I can make it heavy. See, go.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I can choose, but I'm not getting neck crank because here, if you do it, go. This is I don't like to be here because this is neck crank right away.
Exactly.
So and also try to get underhooks.
Like
Get underhooks. See, now we're here.
Yeah.
We're fighting. Yeah. And this is another mistake. Yeah, I do this and then I get a seat belt.
So what I would try to do from here is shoot my knee in underneath here and try to work to get to the back.
Yes. So put your knee in. But
Yeah.
because you have because you don't have a seat belt,
Yeah.
now you have to control my rotation because with that hip. And
Which
now
is the best grip to.
yes.
Yeah.
And now you don't have hook.
Yeah.
Plus, now I have to see which way I can rotate because if I strip that grip, I can go there.
Exactly.
So if you put the hook, see?
Yeah. I would try to probably, from this position at least, I would try to bring you.
Yes.
Yes.
But then we will go this way.
Yeah.
We will end up in a same similar weird stuff. And I would try to keep, like my shield towards you. So everything is kind of off. Yeah. Your legs are like in a wrong position. So I can make those mistakes. And also if I'm here, try to get underhook here.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
It's like, this is my base leg actually. Because here, try to bully me a little bit. With your chest, with your forward. With your chest forward to go behind.
Okay.
Yeah. So this gives me base.
Yeah.
And plus this, this gives me option to wrist fight actually.
Okay.
Try to get seatbelt.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult.
So this is there, yeah? So now I'm gonna mess with you a little bit.
Yeah, and that's why I talk about so much like winning the grip fight, right? So I win the grip fight and I do get like a seatbelt grip, even though it's not like a great one, like an S grip, it's gonna be harder for you. So you gotta be so, preventative in the first place, right? Yeah.
Because I can also circle and my arms get shorter,
Yeah, exactly.
And so if you also push me, I can also go that way, And then maybe take you with me if you overcommit. This is a danger I have to deal with because if your head is, strong, I get hooked. And then you can attack me. If your head is low, I can go with that.
Do you worry about like north-south if I start coming up like trying to pin you like that?
From the baby reach, you can't do it.
No.
Go.
So here.
I'm still the shoulder up.
Yeah.
And and if you lift me, I go other side. Go. So
I lift you here.
no, I mean like do the north south.
Yeah.
So try to pin me. See. No, I start to pin. And then it's like this way, and do it again. Yeah. So if you go back, do it again. If you get this elbow, this is my problem. Yeah. Now we can pin. So do it again. Go north south. Yes. So I'm actually I think I'm fine in that sense because I don't want to be here because now I can put my weight on. Yeah, your weight. So here, put my weight on. Put your weight on. It doesn't really change my breathing much. Yeah, and then I can work for some defenses.
Yeah.
If I give you underhook here. Get underhook. Like this underhook under my.
Kind of here.
No, here over like a kimura grip. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is now dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what I don't want. Yeah. So now I have to click or get my arms here.
Okay.
And then work on something. But so north south in that sense, one more idea more.
Yeah.
If I'm playing here, so go to side control. If you go north south.
Okay. You go turtle.
Yeah. So because you move.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I have options there. And I guess I'm not saying I can get pinned, but I don't want to get flat. Because if I get flat, you can pinpoint your weight.
Exactly.
And it's like, right away this. So if I'm, weird defensive structure, my legs are here, this is very, very hard to pin.
Exactly.
And then my breathing is better, and then we'll see. Because I clearly made a mistake if you got already that far, yeah? And then my worry is like north-south chokes. Are like kimura grips, like underhooks and stuff. So those are my worries. So even if you put me flat, I try to be not flat. Because other way you put too much weight on me and then it's like, 100 kilos, whatever.
So your goal is always to be on your side, which I agree with.
Yeah, so side would be also, in that sense I agree that it's just, side is like, this is a side and this is a side.
Yeah.
So, but I tend to not to be vertical. So this seems to be like a good enough that I can fight you and do stuff.
Because if you go too vertical, you can give up your back.
Yes, so I guess back exposure, yeah. And then this arm becomes less functional because you're gonna jam it more. So if you do this, I would have to go, let's say, running man.
Yeah.
So if you do the same thing, so we play here, so go, like push me a bit. So I go here,
Yeah.
Let's say turtle or even like running man-ish position.
And what do you do from running man? What's like your objective?
Just let's say attack. Go.
Yeah.
Again, now we're in the hand situation.
Yeah. Okay.
You
Yeah.
lifted me up, and now we're back here.
Yeah.
So running man is kind of like you can call it like a sideways turtle. Like turtle is neutral. So let's say I play both ways. I play this way turtle, that I'm on my elbow and you're behind.
Yeah.
I play this, and I can play that.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it's basically the same thing. Just this is more, let's say, killing my bottom arm, and this is giving me post, and I have some openings. I have to manage with my arm and wrist fighting.
Exactly. So what I would try to do personally, with your arm there, I would maybe try to come here,
Yes.
crucifix or something like that. How would you address that?
If I'm in a this position, vertical disc, go for hook. Yes, go back. But if I'm let go.
Yeah.
If I'm actually doing this, you can't.
Yeah, exactly.
So
There's
try.
There's
Yes.
there's no way now.
Yes. So and also I cannot be this way because you're gonna pull me back.
Exactly.
Yeah, this happens. Now I'll go back to the baby reach and stuff.
Okay.
So I have to do it again. I have to be really this. So if you pull me back.
Yeah, it's really difficult.
Yeah. So now I have like a balance and direction. So you have to play me open. It's not like you cannot pull. You have to push, pull, misdirect, blah blah blah. And when there's the dynamics, rolling and stuff, then it's easier than things. Right now it's very static. I'm ready also. I don't have my own intent, so I can just concentrate what you do. So then it's easier to do stuff. So running man is kind of like some call it like a half turtle or something. Just one seems to be very solid structure to go to survive and build base for, let's say, sit up, because from running you can go like up again,
Yeah, right.
or you can go running and you can turtle.
Okay.
Yeah,
So what's the difference between the running man and the hawking? 'Cause to me they look pretty similar.
the joke is kind of, I think what you said is they are similar, but I don't think in a way you think they are.
Yeah.
Because running man is chest towards the mat
Okay.
and hawking is back towards the mat.
Okay.
So if I would do hawking, I would do this.
Okay.
And running man is this, yeah? Chest towards. But the joke in that sense, what his joke is, if I keep the crunch, see what happens?
Yeah.
It's the same crunch. So running man, see? And I go here. The crunch is the same, you just flip it.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's the same structure of kind of crunch, oblique crunch. And in that sense, I agree that they're same, just flip it. And I guess the hawking is, we discovered it like years ago in that sense. Right now, these days, I play way more baby bridge myself,
Yeah.
just to see if it fits. Because maybe we try to use hawking as a, like a triangle to push into the square. So we were trying to answer too much things with hawking. And it's in some cases it worked wonderfully.
Yeah.
And some cases was like, it's almost, but something. And then now we're finding that some cases baby reach is better, because could be this, you crunch this, or could be that, some cases. But let's say in a twister defense, yeah. So do the twister to me.
Oh, I love twisters.
Did you love?
Yeah, I feel
okay.
like twisters.
Okay, so we'll see what happens then. So, yeah. So take my arm, go for a lock. Yeah. Yes. So now I do my hawking. Go. See what happens?
Yeah, it's hard to get underneath your neck.
So if I'm okay here,
Yeah.
then if you get the arm go over the head, then I can't get it back,
Exactly.
But if I have this, even with my shitty shoulders, go.
Yeah, so you just keep your head far away, basically.
Yeah. So if you go for a head, I have this fight.
Yeah.
See, I can still do it.
Yeah.
And my legs are not this, because you can, split and do stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So I might stay hawking legs.
Okay.
So go, attack the legs.
I'd probably go to the calf slice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I do this. And now I have this, and now we're off. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was good, because when you know twisters, so it's honest feedback to what I do. Also because the crunch makes it really weird.
Yeah.
And I have very, not very Kimura shoulders.
Yeah.
And then if I have that crunch, I can still escape it.
Okay.
And I think if people have way better shoulder flexibility, you can even do more.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. That angle gives me stuff. And my legs are automatically in the right way, so splits and weird things that done from trucks, submissions, calf slices are gone. I can fight the lockdown. It's not going to be easy, but I can fight it. And then my upper body is always safe. So that's a position where hawking fits exactly. Yeah, like I'm just exactly doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
This would be, all the truck submissions.
Yeah.
And this is not, and then I'm fighting that lockdown. And then keeping the wrist fighting here, escaping my arm and keeping the head free also,
So it's a really versatile position, right? To defend against the back, against side control too.
Yeah, so this, I use it in back control. So let's take the back.
Yeah.
So let's say underhook top side, yeah? And then I go here.
Yeah.
So here usually you have chokes and stuff, go for it. Yeah, this. But now I do this, yeah?
Exactly, yeah.
So now if you now I can reach also, and you can't submit me really, because here I do this and then I go, so here.
Exactly.
And then I wrist fight, usually one-on-one.
Yeah.
So that's the position and literally that. And then I can, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So this is where I use it a lot.
Okay.
So
Would you use it when someone goes to pass your guard? Like instead of going to turtle, and go right to hawking, or?
I could just be very, the one way to be very annoying. So let's say you pass.
That's a Toriano pass. Here. Okay.
Because I can do those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, with baby bridge, I would do this things, yeah?
Yeah.
Like Marcelo stuff, yeah?
Yeah.
Go here, hooks and stuff behind.
Yeah.
But with this, let's fight a little bit. See?
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult.
Yes. And even if you get it, go.
Yeah.
It's a different feeling because I'm never under the pressure.
Exactly.
So I can have, do it again. So I can have, go,
Yeah.
side control. I can have those fights. I know you can beat it.
Yeah.
Because you can go pummel in, pummel out, yeah. So this is then maybe this layer. Also, I can just go. Let's play.
Yeah.
See, now there is already there is a fight
Exactly.
because you went up, and that drags me up.
Exactly.
So we can have those scrambles,
So what do you do if someone does grab your head if they pummel into the inside?
Where? Show.
So say we get to here, right? And then if you pummel into here, what would be your game plan?
I can also just stay here because I know if I'm here, you try to get this and chest to chest, go squeeze.
Yeah.
And this sucks, and you try to kill the arm, yeah.
Yeah.
Usually with the hips and stuff.
Exactly.
Yes. So with this, go kill the arm. Try to kill the arm.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be the same stress for me, and I can get it back first. And also if I keep it here, go.
Yeah.
And now I get it back.
So you basically use it as a frame so it can't get higher, right?
Yes.
This kind of is it. Yeah.
Because here, typically if you climb up, go hip up, it becomes like really, really dead here.
Exactly.
So
you want to keep it your elbow in front.
yeah, and climb up.
Yeah. I see what you're doing.
Even if it's here, so climb up. See, it's really weird to climb up because it's weaker angle for you.
Exactly.
And then you have to climb, and then it's this because if I do this, you can have a knee space.
Yeah.
And then I can use it for a mount also. Go, step, see?
Yeah.
This is dangerous, yeah?
Yeah, I can see if I try to put my hook in now, you're gonna catch it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, because here, you can go.
Exactly.
And here, go.
Yeah, not gonna happen. It's basically because you're keeping your frames, right? Like your elbow in your
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's really weird to go to mount.
Yeah.
So, there's layers of a mistake. Mistakes I can do, face it, neck, if you beat it, hip, I can also go front of the hip to the far hip. That prevents you going to the mount in that sense. So I can lose that top arm many ways.
Exactly.
And then I'm crunched. So earlier days I did more hawking. These days maybe I do baby reach more, so we'll figure it out. But also your continuation attacks are really hard.
Exactly.
So even let's say the arm bar. So if I'm doing this, get the overhook. Get the overhook. No, this grab.
Okay.
And go for arm bar, yeah? Usually, something like this happens.
Yeah.
And you put your knees on the ribs and then you fall over and blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
Go back.
Yeah, I'm not a huge near side arm bar guy.
But I feel it how heavy it is. Go.
Yeah, it's no way I'm gonna be able to get it.
So if you could put pressure on me, so if we're here, I made a mistake.
Yeah.
So if you go for that elbow,
Yeah.
it's not gonna be like, this is a frame, yeah? And then, I can have it, maybe I breach, maybe I don't.
Exactly.
So it's like even the structure, if I do it, this is easier, keep it very under control. So you really can't go without me noticing. It's not like gonna be like this, so you just get it,
Exactly.
So there's a lot of prevention. A lot of prevention is programmed into those structures. And the layers of defense you can mess up, and then you exactly know what stage you mess up, you isolate that stage, like a plate, mother blade from the big server, fix it, put it back. So you have those layers. Maybe I lost this, maybe I lost underhook, blah, blah, blah. And so you play with that. Because let's say do the baby reach, go for a seat belt and take the back. So go, take the back. Yes. See? Go back, yes. So now I can make it harder. So go. See? Another structure. Go.
I see. I'll probably transition.
Yes.
Right? So I think, is that the way you think is to beat the defensive positions is to transition, and then the way to beat the transitions is to transition yourself?
That's always been every sports idea.
Yeah.
That is what I always said. What my structures will force people to do is that single structures become so annoying that you don't want to let people there, and you try to get there before them. Close we call it kind of Agent Smith, a little bit. Like, get the phone and get in the matrix.
Yeah.
So you get the foot between the door. So, and before I close it, you're in,
Exactly.
And then you have easier time. So, and you have to bombard me with everything.
Exactly.
Because positions are hard to get certain, let's say, if I'm really, well tuned. And then you have to like bombard me like this. And that's what every sport is, chain wrestling, chain boxing, chain jiu-jitsu. That it forces automatically, because I'm not saying the value of position goes down. If you really get it, why not? You take the points and stuff. But even from this, like if you start to get the back, maybe it's not optimal anymore. Okay, crucifix is there.
Yeah.
So then I would probably fight this and we go on,
And the more you kind of play with the defensive positions, I think the more you kind of learn and feel what people are going to do, so you have an answer for that.
Yes, and you're forced to adapt, because otherwise you're not interested of, let's say, in the crucifix, because you take the back, and you're not forced to adapt the game. But because defensive stuff, I can ruin the back take, and then it's like, okay, what next? What next? And then I get better because you do combination attacks, so I have to be ready for that, because it's very interestingly well balanced. Because if I give you a seat belt, I'm in more in your game. So back takes, crucifix are there, So I expect also those things. I don't think it's a mistake from my part. It just, I let you in already, and I'm in that underhook area, because crucifix and stuff, everything is more like those types of attacks. If I shut it down, you don't have them, and then back takes are really weird. If you just don't have underhooks, then it's like And so how do I get underhooks? How do you play me open? How do you get underhooks in wrestling? You do setups, certain things. It's very hard against good wrestlers, but they have their setups. So I find in jiu-jitsu, you're used to getting underhooks.
Exactly.
And if I close it, you go like, So you don't have your setups yet.
Yeah.
And then, okay, how do I do this? And maybe I turn from because if I transition, I'm also very open. If I settle in a trench, I can close down.
Yeah.
But always the movement creates slack.
Exactly.
And then I can be a harder target because I'm moving, but there's always slack.
Yeah, I think that's one problem people have in jiu-jitsu is they're so willing to give up underhooks, and that's why I think your system is so important and useful, because it really teaches you not to let people do that, and you can actually get your offense going. So very similar to what we mentioned about like Gary Tonin, where it's like the more someone plays defensively, the better the offensive person's going to get at attacking it, but also like vice versa too. They're going to get better at defending as they adjust too. Something like that.
Yeah, it has to be like it's sometimes it's not. You said it nicely. It's not like viewed like this. Something has to push something. Defense pushes attacks, and then if you attack me, okay, I fix my defense again. So it has to be really like hand in hand, and it's one of the best ways and one of the best natural motivations. If I fix my defense, and you go right, okay, how do I do it now?
Exactly.
If you close your elbows in turtle, you're right away like, okay, how do I now attack the back? Exactly. Because if I just do this, and every time you just get a seatbelt for default, by default, then it's like you don't think about it. Like seatbelt should be a fight. Imagine like a wrestling, like a head throw.
Yeah.
It's a fight, not like I just get the head and I throw you. Like no, underhooks and everything or whatever, the shoulder throw. I have to get there.
Yeah, that's why I say a lot how much jiu-jitsu is a grip fight, and like grips are like underhooks and crossface is head control. So that's what you need to fight for first. And
So I really enjoyed that. I credit wrestling a lot because they have like a, let's say you have a sprawl, you have a arms, elbows, head fight, the hips, and like this Ben Askren scrambling, even fifth level of defense. So I like that they have that, and we mainly, let's say, I generalize also. We play like butterfly guard is more wrist fighting, people are used to there.
Yeah.
But if I fight them, let's say, even in Kimura grip, let's say, take a Kimura grip.
Yeah.
So go. So if I wrist fight here.
Yeah.
So this is, for most people, it's very annoying, like you wrist fight from the bottom. I was like, so get the grip. Why do I give you that,
Exactly.
And then you actually have more time, you think here, because I'm going to do this. So I have to attack more, faster and everything else. Because usually I'm stuck. No.
Yeah.
This is very easy. And then you're like, how do you do it now,
Exactly.
So I'm trying to also add certain layers there that just wrist fight. And I don't do, let's say, take the back again.
Yeah.
So I don't do 2-on-1, let's say, because you grab my wrist, Yeah. And then this is like a fight. So
Exactly.
Yes. So what I do is I do 1-on-1, 1-1.
Okay.
So now if you wrist fight.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult. Yeah.
So because now 2-on-1 is technique.
Yeah, because you're covering my grips from being able to like actually grab anything.
And also the weird part is like, let's say one just at a sneaky attack. If I'm here, grab my wrist and feed it to your leg. Yeah, you get this.
Yeah.
So see what Hawking does now. Go.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult.
I can always get it back.
Yeah.
Because if I'm here, you can get over my elbow.
Yeah, way easier.
Yeah. So if I do this, I play like this. Your elbows, you have to go so high, go.
Yeah.
And then give me those things.
Exactly.
I don't think you want to.
So it's all you're really doing is kind of changing your angle. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's Hawking is like you can't push my hips because my leg is there. If my leg is up, you can push it. You can push me downwards.
Yeah.
Even I don't think you can body triangle me, but because of my weight class.
I got short legs.
Yes. So I can, with that crunch, if you squeeze, we can survive body triangles. It's straight. People tap. With this, people don't.
Yeah.
That's tested. And then arm killing also chokes. Yeah. It's really hard for a no-gi choke because I'm doing this to you.
Exactly.
So it's not going to be, and if I'm also I guess what that attack is also there.
Yeah.
For a safety reason. If I'm here, slowly stretch me out. Slowly go. This sucks.
Yeah.
So with Hawking, go.
Yeah, it's gonna be way harder.
Yeah. So even if somebody does this, but then I have time to tap,
Yeah.
Here, I just scream because it happens so fast usually, yeah?
So basically you're saying you shouldn't let yourself be centered with the person, right? Because that's what I want. I want to be centered
Yeah.
with you.
So now everything works for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You have all the attacks. So I'm actually want this.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
So, and then, we can turn in and turn, but this is one structure that we could do.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, because I feel like the choke's gonna be really hard to get.
And
trapping your arms is gonna be difficult.
Because if you get my shoulder, you can choke me. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
This.
Yeah.
If I do this.
Yeah. Now I can't grab your shoulder. Now my hand's like far away.
Yeah. And now if you open it, you have a chance. Yeah. And then ideally I want to go, invert.
Yeah.
So
that's how you escape it. You go for an inversion.
That's one way, and then I can turn in. Obviously, just
exactly.
I go there, and then we will feel how you move,
Yeah.
and what my thing is, what the environment we're fighting, how many times we have left. So
exactly.
So it depends all on that a little bit.
So I think the best way to defeat I guess the defensive postures would be to always do it within the transition. Yes. And not to hang out there too long. I think sometimes people think that jiu-jitsu is like magic, and you can do one thing and just be safe forever. But that's not really so much the case. But these things really protect you so much, so you can figure out your next move and how to advance to the next thing.
Yes, so I agree with that. So yeah, it's a tool, it's you can overuse it, underuse it, and you can just just shut down and nothing happens.
Yeah.
But it's a social game we're playing, so. I guess if you do a competition fights, why not camp out there,
Yeah.
Then 20 seconds left, camp out in turtle, leading in points. Why not?
Yeah. Also, sometimes you don't have a choice either. Someone takes your back. Yeah. I mean, you don't have to stay centered, let them choke you. You need to get to that hocking position.
So in competition, you can stay 20 seconds, but you have to know you can stay there.
Exactly.
So my thing has always been you have to have ability to escape the fastest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's obvious, yeah. And then also you have to camp out the longest.
Yeah.
Because to make the fastest escape, you have to have the biggest experience or enough experience. So, of course, you want to escape, but you have to stay there to understand everything about the context, and then you can pick the right thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because I don't emphasize staying there forever. I did in the early days, because I wanted to find out how long I could stay, what mistakes people could find.
Exactly.
If I would escape very fast, the mistakes wouldn't come out.
Yeah.
So I did that, and clearly I created a little bit like a, I don't know, what's the good word, like a reputation of just not doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that was just a stage of where we're in. We were going backwards and finding the least movable positions. You know, we call them 0 points in that sense. And then we build complexity back up. If we go to the beginning, so to speak, and then we go like, okay, now we found the beginning, and then we go back up, you know. But we have to dial everything down, like go to absolute zero of temperature, you know.
Yeah.
Just how less moving we can be, you know.
Well, I think the easiest time to escape is when the other person transitioning their attack,
Yes.
right? So I think that's one benefit of being able to stay there for a bit. You can wait until they try to transition, and it's way easier to escape rather than them like having all their weight on you, and you're kind of, you know, they know when you're going to try to transition, and they can capitalize on you. So it's almost like who's going to go first. And I think
that's what the north-south was very good, because if I make a mistake, I'm north-south. But if I position myself well, you don't have easy attacks.
Yeah.
So you have to do something to get me open, and that's my time. If I'm losing with points, I have to force also something. I have to have ability to force it. But also I can just camp out and wait for you. But I have to be able to like shut everything down for you, you know? And then everything is off, let's say, not impossible, but a bit off. You have to do extra, and that extra gives me time to make a decision.
And do you have counters for all your defensive positions, or is it just always so situational?
Ask me more specifically. What do you mean?
Like, do you have do you have counters figured out for your own techniques?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because I know the layers, I said I can do this, I can lose. You can take the back. I know, and let's say even take the back for a second.
Yeah.
And so we get so here, take the back.
Yeah.
We did this. So here, see if I land like this,
Yeah.
I lose again.
Yeah.
See, you have everything I want. Sorry, you have everything you need. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, but when I want to land, let's do it again.
Yeah.
So I want to actually land in baby bridge. So let's go.
Okay. Yeah. So now it's harder for me to get that top hook in. Harder for me to get my arm around.
So now the same thing is your go for choke.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult. I'll try to.
Yeah,
I need to recenter myself first.
Yes. So it's a weird feeling already.
Yeah.
Plus here, kill my arm.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot.
Yeah. Go back.
Yeah.
And then kill the arm.
Yeah, I can't get the angle.
No, keep the arm.
Yeah.
See? Then I can escape that.
Okay. Yeah.
Because of the structure.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be here. This is like where you do the straight jacket and everything else.
I love that system.
Yeah. So do it right now.
Yeah. So we're here. Trap. Yeah.
It's already different.
Yeah.
Because the angles are weird.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I have already 2-on-1 because here I'm more in danger.
But I think when you change your angle, it might make it easier for me to grab the arm bar, right?
But what you need for armbar?
Yeah, you need ideally Kimura grip. But
yes, but you need elbow out.
Yeah.
So what I do, lay down, was to do it again.
Yeah.
So my default structure is always there.
Yeah. Okay.
See, if I go here, I go in more.
Okay.
So, and now what you need for armbar?
Yeah, I'll bring my arm across. Try to Kimura grip ideally. Yeah.
And now this is already, this not, if you go for it, I don't think it's there.
Yeah.
We can force it because there's another module.
Yeah.
But I don't think the default is there.
Okay.
Because go for a grip.
Yeah, to say I can't get it, maybe I'll just try to grab here and then come around.
And then we have to fight.
Yeah.
Because if I would be here, then it would be way more possible.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
So you see, like you feel that I'm gonna fall out right away.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, now I got that room, that space.
So here, I think it's harder to get the arm.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, plus I can fight with this.
I wouldn't want it. Ideally,
I know what you mean.
Exactly, because if I don't have the grips, it's going to make it more likely to be a scramble.
Yeah, because you want this, and now I'm in danger more.
Exactly.
So you got my elbow, and now I have to figure out something else.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I kind of know I have to give you stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's that the armbar, let's say, still I would think it takes a little bit of reaction time away from you or something, or gives me reaction time more. Mm-hmm. I can see it coming. Exactly. If you get my elbow, then it's like really quick, you know. But then I know my elbow left, and I can't be delusional of not knowing the armbar is coming, you know?
Exactly.
So I know that you have to win some part of me.
Well, because I think what people might think is like, okay, well, if you do this, I'll just do this. But it's also, if you do this, you're going to do that, right? So there's always counters to everything.
Yes, but I also what my message is, or seems what the evidence supports, is I can keep that structure, and I can, let's say, almost look that every attack is a bit off.
Yeah.
So that's my message. Think about like boxing defense, yeah? None of the, let's say, punches are like really fitting. Yeah. If I do this, you can straight. If I do it, everything is a bit off. So that's why we have setups. Yeah.
Exactly.
To really open it up.
Exactly.
So I think if I do my structures, like even the hooking and stuff, that everything is a bit off, that you only have to like, do something to make me open. And that every other sport deals with the same issues. And that I think is what we have to do. If there's a default flaw, then I think I'm wrong. And then I will change it and try to pursue some other structures. Those defensive structures, let's say, can't have a default flaw. That everything you do against them should be like a bit off.
Yeah.
And everything is attackable. But again, you said like in transitions, we create dynamics, you build traps, you show me the way out, but you control the way out.
Exactly.
So if I take it, you're ready for this, And then I have to go, oh, you gave me a way out. Sometimes you box like this. Then I know
Yeah.
And so I'm not gonna do this and fall to the sidestep,
Yeah.
So I have to know. So then how do I go to the trap knowing it's a trap? I set off the trap. So we all, when both are adapted and both are optimal, then it's a nice sport. Like watching here, throwing there. So, and then I have to know, like, is it a mistake? Is it like a trap? And then sometimes I don't have time to think. I just have to do it. So I find that sport part kicks in, and that I really enjoy. That it, not in a sport part with medals and stuff, but sport part as we play a sport. Tricks, feints, misdirections, everything. So I think that's the way to beat it. That boxing and wrestling shows it. That's the way to beat good wrestlers with the misdirections and everything else, and the definite aggressiveness, athleticism, everything else counts that. So I like that what we build the trenches, it forces everybody right away to adapt to transitional attacks.
Yeah.
And that's how we see all the good guys also sometimes lose,
Exactly.
Like they just do something and a good guy takes it. But there has to be a good guy to take that small mistake from the other good guy. And they don't attack so much like a steady positions because everybody's so good in them naturally, But defensively, there's just people who are good, they train a lot for whatever reason. So I think that what it pushes to, what your idea is also transition and attacks, pushing, pull, not let me settle, try to avoid me going to the trench. And even if I go, push at me. So I would lose the trench again. Just don't let me settle,
Exactly.
So, and those are sports. So if that's the results, I'm happy.
Yeah, I had a match on the weekend where the guy was just super really defensively sound, not wanting to move at all. So my game plan was to I was in close guard. I just opened up my guard to let him go, and then as he was going, then I can actually attack. Because sometimes it can be really hard to attack people when they're just focused on defense. So you can wait for them to.
You also have the weight disadvantage, yeah.
Yeah,
that's So also smaller guys' advantage is always mobility, and bigger guys always want to be more steady, and because they lose the mobility part.
Exactly.
So that's all been my message, and I guess what I'm trying to do is just to make in my head make a better beginning for beginners to start. So it's that they want more concrete answers. Is it this or that? So I can show them this or that, and if they know more, then it's here. So we build complexity, and when they get better. But first it's this or that. We're gonna black and white, And then they get better, and then there is not the full truth, and then sport kicks in. But it's very hard to teach just how to begin. What's the first thing you learn? And so that's my job. Seems to be I'm trying to make beginners quit less, so to speak. Yeah. So they enjoy losing more. If somebody even wins, they exactly know what layers they lost. They can go, let's play the game again. Yeah. If they lose and they don't know, it's torture. So I'm trying to make more sense of that why they lose.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I see it. And if the higher belts also, I guess they do it. I have a lot of friends black belts, and they do it. But my idea is geared towards the beginners, so to speak.
Well,
I hate to interrupt you. You have 8 minutes left on this card.
We'll go 5 more minutes.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
That's all right. Shit.
Sorry, George.
Sorry, I was gonna say something. My bad. I think that's one of the problems a lot of beginners have. It's they just accept, having dominant grips on them. I think that's one of the highlights of your system is that I feel like the whole thing is based around preventing them from getting dominant grips on you, right? Because you can't get the seatbelt grip from your back, or even the side control can't get the seatbelt grip. And I really like that.
I think in that sense, I agree with you again. And then I would also just add that you can let them more in if you want. If you're better, and then you roll with a more beginner, let them have seatbelt. Let them in the next layer, because then the threat is bigger to you, not just shutting down. So you can either they take the next layer by force, and you know exactly where you lost and why it happened, or you give them the next layer. Because you want to train with more beginners, you give them more threats, it's more fun for you. Yeah. Why shut beginners down? Because you're better anyway. So I think it gives both people options. And definitely, if beginners have like to Kimura to get, we have like 8 layers of defense, so they exactly know where they lost.
Yeah.
So, and then they can fix it, go back, try it again. It's like a jab, it's not going to be like just works right away. You jab, it takes a year to have let's say solid jab or for beginner.
Yeah.
And but they have to know what to work on. So I think that the structures, I put my reputation there a little bit, so those are working. We always tweak them if we have to, but try them and invest to them. And it takes a while to make them work, but if they do, you benefit from them. And definitely start with lesser weight people that cannot bully you with the weight, so you get a false positives, and then you climb up with the level or the weight, And so otherwise it's very hard, try it against your own weight, your aggressiveness. So you train something, learn new, you can't. You dial it down, So
do you think that's like a problem that beginners have? Is like maybe going with partners that aren't the ideal learning situation for them? Maybe it's too big or too skilled.
Yes. Then I always if you're a beginner, I always say take somebody lesser beginner than you, or if you can't, then you have a situational drills where you have same level beginners, but then adaptive resistance from their part. They have to lose, I have to win. And if I get too much swings, they adapt to it, and then raise resistance.
Yeah.
And but if you can, you're better. There's weaker, in that sense, level-wise. Then just they can do whatever you want. You drill with them. You did have to adapt because you're better.
I'm a big fan of positional drilling. I think that's like almost like the cheat code for people to get better at jiu-jitsu, because they can really get like the reps in with resistance, and where they might not be able to get to those positions when they're rolling.
Yeah, it's all about also recall. It's like how many times you can recall it up and back.
Yeah.
So doing it all over again and situation going back to there, and it's one of the best ways to get better. It's like deliberate practice. Everybody talks about it, and we can do positional drills for Kimura grips. We can do like guard passing positional drills, but you can really dial in those smaller parts.
Yeah.
So I think people do a lot of positional guard pass, and guard openings, but we can have also just like get a Kimura grip. We're fighting here, so I'm trying to build also that knowledge up and positional wise. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that's really lacking in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu schools. It's just not enough drilling, situational drilling. I think that would benefit people quite immensely.
Yeah, teaching it as a sport. We know how to teach skills. People have figured out the science of it. Right now, it's very popular is the constraint-led method. Not teaching any techniques, but giving people restrictions. And then let them figure it out. Kind of. Like even playing football in a sandy field, bigger field, smaller field. Yeah. Teaching bait balls, having like a tennis ball here, so they not open it up too early. Doing this and then they open or something. So constraint-led, deliberate practice, blah blah blah. So we know how to place it, make it. So I think it's slowly coming to Jiu-Jitsu also. There's more people talking about it, and it's not like anymore like a very little people, like very small group of people. I think it's going around that it's not only black belt and then you teach, but actually you have to learn how to teach.
Yeah.
And that makes a difference. So yeah.
I think that is very important. And I think that if anyone wants to learn more about the defensive system, they can go to defensivebjj.com.
Yes.
Priit's got a really good system on his website. And also, if you ever have the opportunity to take a seminar from Priit, my bad.
No, Priit. 2 hours, yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, no.
Then definitely do that. He does a lot of Jiu-Jitsu Globetrotter camps, and I've been to one of those, and it was a lot of fun. So, it was a pleasure having you, Priit, and I really
Thank you very much for doing this. Yeah.
Thank you. It's awesome.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you.